ordinary girl trying to be fabulous, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my subscribers. Welcome to my new subscribers, and welcome to those of you who aren't subscribed. If you are not subscribed and you enjoy my content, I hope you will consider doing so. If you don't enjoy my content, I hope you will consider subscribing, because I won't tell a few things about me. I am a dog mom to two very special rescue dogs. There is Olivia, and she is a 9-year-old Japanese Chen. She is a princess, and that is just the way it should be. And then there is Annie, and she is a 3-year-old Border Terrier. And Annie is in education, but I love her. I love that little education. So, some things about my channel. I do reviews. I do failed weight loss content, anti-MLM, that is multi-level marketing. I've done hauls, gardening, cooking, some history, and some books. So, with that, let's get into the video. So, this year I prepared Thanksgiving dinner, and this year I had a little bit of a challenge, which, with cooking, I like a challenge, so that's fine with me. And, I have a family member who cannot tolerate dairy. So, I just wanted to share how I manage the challenge of a family member who cannot tolerate dairy. Before we get started, I know I need more vegetables. The thing is that like any overgrown toddler, I do not like vegetables. And also, where I live, broccoli and Brussels sprouts and green beans get awful boring every day. So, I'm not a martyr. I can't suffer through eating just because I need to eat vegetables. But that's a me problem. So, of course, I'm telling you about the modifications I made to these recipes. But what I will do is I will post the original recipe in the description box, so that if you want to, you can use the original recipe. And also, the people who created the recipe will get credit for it. And that will be down below in the description box, just to let you know. So, to start out with, we had roast beef. We did not have turkey because, like my dad likes turkey, but he's really the only one who likes turkey. And every once in a while, on Thanksgiving, I will humor him and make him a turkey with all the trimmings. But then it's like, yay, turkey. Ugh. So we had a roast beef. And that wasn't hard to make dairy-free because, a roast beef isn't dairy-free. The recipe I used, or the instructions I used, did request butter, on the roast beef. And also, it said to cook it in a Dutch oven or a pan with a lid. And I did not have one of those. And I wasn't going to go out and buy one for one day, because I think I would use it once and it would be a waste. So I did not go out and buy a Dutch oven. What I did was I took like a Pyrex dish and I covered it in aluminum foil for the required time of cooking. And also for dinner, we had mashed potatoes. So with the mashed potatoes, I used real potatoes that I boiled on the stove. I don't believe I have a picture of that, but I boiled the potatoes for an hour because of the size. Sometimes whenever you're making real mashed potatoes, to boil the potatoes, it can take an hour depending on the size. If they're really excuse me, If they're large mashed potatoes or large potatoes, you might have to boil them for 2 hours. Just depends on the size, and you just boil them till they're fork tender. So after they were fork tender, I got them and I mashed them. And the items I used for the potatoes, I used almond milk and I used plant butter. So, dairy free. In my mashed potatoes, when I make them any other time of the year, I generally always use almond milk because I despise milk. I think it is the most disgusting thing ever invented. I think it's pretty nasty. So I use almond milk and everything. I get the unsweetened almond milk and I substitute almond milk for things that, you put milk in, because the only thing I hate more than milk is snow. So you know what level how I feel about milk. But the thing is I still use butter and cheese and stuff, dairy products, because I don't have a dairy sensitivity, and those items don't seem to taste like sweet death like milk does. So in the mashed potatoes, instead of butter that I usually use, I used plant butter. And, everything I bought, I made sure it did not contain milk or dairy, because there's a lot of things in items that, they have a different name, but they end up being a milk product or byproduct. So mashed potatoes. So then I also made dinner rolls. And this particular recipe called for whole milk, and I was concerned because I know that whole milk has a lot of lactose and sugar in it. So I was concerned that I wouldn't be able to use this recipe, even though I like this particular blog that I got the recipe from. So I did a lot of research, and I found out that, it's okay to use almond milk in place of cow's milk in dinner roll recipes. It just might take a little longer for the yeast to ferment. So keep that in mind. And also, when you bake the rolls, they won't be as golden as dinner rolls that have been made with milk. So that's something to keep in mind too. So that was dinner. We had roast and mashed potatoes and dinner rolls. And if I had to, my recommendation for these is I give it a 10. Everyone said that everything was very good. Things were just really tasty, which is what I was aiming for. I didn't want to go, too weird and make stuff that didn't taste good, because leftovers, and nobody wants to eat leftovers that don't taste good, which is why we don't have turkey. But that's a whole other blog. So then for dessert, I made 2 kinds of dessert. I made a pumpkin pie because even though I don't like pumpkin pie, it doesn't seem like it's Thanksgiving without pumpkin pie. Hold on, I'll be right back. I got 2 doggies and I'm about to cough. So for dessert, I made a pumpkin pie, and I used the recipe on the back of the pie filling can, which calls for sweetened condensed milk. So what I did instead of sweetened condensed milk is I used sweetened condensed coconut milk. And that is not hard to make. And like I was saying, and also I'll include that recipe down below, because that's a good recipe. And I'll put it in the description box too. So I used sweetened condensed coconut milk, which was real easy to make. I thought it would be hard. It was really easy. Um, the neat thing about my family member who is intolerant of dairy is that they're not intolerant of coconut. And that's good because everything non-dairy seems to be made with coconut. Or almonds. I mean, if they were allergic to nuts, we would just be, I don't know what we would do. That would present a most interesting challenge. And then I make my pie crust from scratch because the ones you buy in the store are chewy and tough and nasty. I usually use butter, regular fresh cow's butter, nice and solid to make a nice crust, a nice fluffy, flaky crust. In this case, I once again used plant butter. So I used the plant butter and the pumpkin pie. I don't really like pumpkin pie. I figured I would try it because, in previous years, the pumpkin pie I've made has been made with sweetened condensed milk, and we know how I feel about milk. So I thought, well, with the coconut condensed milk, I'll try pumpkin pie again and we'll see if I like it. I thought it was good. I thought the pie crust was really flaky. My family, like my mom, who loves pumpkin pie, said that it was the best pumpkin pie she's ever had. And she's like, at Christmas, if you make pumpkin pie, you can make the custard filling with the sweetened condensed coconut milk, but you can make the pie crust with butter. She liked the pie, but she said the pie crust was okay, but it was a little dry. So, I thought the pie crust was the best part. So, I made it with plant butter. Made the custard filling with the sweetened condensed coconut milk, and I used the recipe on the back of the can of pumpkin pie filling. And then, I usually, for Thanksgiving and Christmas in this time of year, I usually like to make things that are kind of go with the season. Not only with the season, but with the like fall and wintry type things. But during the summer, I made a cake for a picnic, and I made this with plant alternatives because this person was going to be at this picnic, and I wanted them to have some dessert, be able to have some dessert. And it fell apart in the pan. So I was a little worried that it was the plant alternatives that were making it fall apart. And so that's one reason. Well, one of the reasons it did fall apart is because I used a pan that was decorative, and I greased the pan with coconut oil, and I think the pan had some of the finish worn off. So when I turned it over, it fell apart when it came out, and it was just a mess. And so I tried to make lemons out of this lemon. Tried to make some lemonade out of these lemons. It didn't turn out that great because I used plant-based cream cheese, which I am not a fan of. So I wanted to make another one because I wanted to see if it would turn out this time. So this time, I got out my wax paper and my Crisco, and I greased the pan with Crisco, and I made a liner out of wax paper so that hopefully the cake would not fall apart. And the good news is that the cake did not fall apart this time, and it was still pretty good. No, it Well, my thing is, I thought it was really good. My thing is I'm not a huge fan of fruit in cakes. Even, I don't like fruit cake, but, even, cake with fruit in it, I'm just not a fan. Because I'm really not a fan of fruit or vegetables. So, I mean, but everybody loved that. They thought it was wonderful. So, one thing for me to work on is I need more vegetables. I need to eat my broccoli and my green beans and my Brussels sprouts, whether I like them or not. Because, like I said, unfortunately, there's just not a lot of variety of vegetables where I live. And I should probably learn to like fruit too. So, I think that's it. I just want to thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate you. I really, really appreciate you. And I will see you in the next video. I have some ideas for December, and we'll work on those then. So I'll talk to you soon. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Yep, this was my sweatshirt I was wearing and a ratty pair of leggings.